Doop, doop. All right, should be live now. Hello, everyone. Hi, Marino. How are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you, Leanne? Welcome, everyone.
Pretty good. The weather's shit, but I mean, I live in Amsterdam, so obviously prepared for that.
Totally understand. Yeah, it's actually kind of crappy out here too. It's pretty gray, so that kind of helps in a lot of ways because I forgot to put up my light barrier, and it's gray outside, so that kind of helps with the overall lighting in my office. But yeah, I think it's starting to get chillier, and I'm actually kind of scared because I've got to go hit up my motorcycle this evening, and I don't.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna go. Anyways, yeah. So what are we up to today? Looks like I'm
Right.
gonna be doing some coding and stuff like that.
Yes. Oh, Engen is here, and Pie Master. Hi. So I sent out a poll a couple days ago, and we had 16 votes, which is more. We had more votes than viewers, so that's interesting. But 56% of people wanted us to containerize. 25% wanted us to build out a web app, and 18.8% wanted to add a database. So I guess we're containerizing today.
I guess we are.
How are you? Have you done that before?
It's been a while. I am so used to just pulling off the shelf containers that I probably need to go look up how to build a JavaScript container, which shouldn't take much. But let's actually do that right now. And you know how I learn is I'm going to research. Hey Engen, hey Pi Master. Who is Pi Master, by the way? I'm going to figure this out.
Some guy who lives in my house.
Welcome,
That was my
welcome.
husband.
Awesome.
Oh, by the way, one thing I should note maybe. So, my husband is a JavaScript well, he's an engineer who is much more knowledgeable about JavaScript than I am. And he told me that the package log JSON, if you remember, we talked about that last time. He said I
Right.
should check that into my repos in the future because it's precisely that other people will have the same versions of dependencies and everything as I do because it's written into the package log JSON. So yeah, since you are going to drive this time, like let's remember that you just check that in when you're done.
Okay, so there's a couple of things I would probably have to do now. I just need to make sure that my Git stuff is all set up appropriately. But since that repo is public, I just need to make sure that I set up my environment stuff because I haven't done this yet.
Well, you
So
should share your screen so we can all watch
yes,
you
that's right.
do
Let me share
that.
my screen. Okay, so let me pick a screen to share.
The Engen says use a build pack with the pack CLI should be straightforward. Rather build a Docker file from scratch. Oh, I've never used build pack before.
So yeah, so cloud native build packs is absolutely a way, but I feel like you also need that initial setup with the pack CLI just to get going, because you also need what, an operator inside of your Kubernetes cluster, right, Engen? If I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I can't remember.
There
'Cause
yet.
it,
We're not
yeah,
at the Kubernetes stage yet.
yeah. So I know that like I've worked with this stuff before, but it's been a while, and I can't remember how it goes about doing it. But it uses Kubernetes to actually build a container image for you. But there are some inherent limitations with it because you can't really truly customize some aspects. Oh yeah, that's KPack. My bad.
No,
So
okay.
KPack,
I see.
yeah. So KPack uses Pack CLI, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, we'll revisit that in a second. So I'm going to share my screen, and I need to create a git config for my stuff, right? So how do I do that again? Let me pull this up. Git config global.
The Engen says you can wait. Let's try this great feature. You can use pack in your pipeline or local machine. Did you know that you can add comments into the stream?
Oh yeah. You could actually, and then you can hide it again, which is so cool. I actually discovered this a while back, and yeah. Anyways, let me reshare some parts of my screen so that you can see what I'm looking up right now. So right now I'm just looking up, setting up my Git global variables and whatnot so that I can do this appropriately. And I guess all of my stuff is tagged appropriately, but I guess I'm also going to have to clone the repo and then add my changes when we're ready. So let me come back to this. And
Right.
I honestly wish StreamYard would allow me to share multiple screens. It's not very easy unless I share my entire screen.
Yeah.
And this is why I have to keep like
I
bouncing
guess
back.
you can. I guess you could. Can we both share screens at the same time? I'm not sure about that.
Oh, I don't think so. No, unfortunately. I tried it too. Like you could try and share, it'll just kick my screen off. And you know,
Right.
if the StreamYard team happens to just be listening into the conversation, you know, this
One
is
of the
some
3
excellent
viewers. Yes.
excellent feedback.
Yeah, that would be actually pretty useful. I guess Discord can do that. So you can share multiple screens on Discord in the chat, in the video chat.
I guess, yeah. I just wonder if that would be a way to kind of feed that into YouTube and Twitch as well. But we can look at that later on.
I mean, you could theoretically probably share your Discord into StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, let's focus on this.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's not get
Let's
distracted.
so let's go back and look at that Git repo again. And you know what I'm gonna do? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get extra sneaky and I'm gonna just quickly rearrange my desk so that I can bring my book down.
Did you mute yourself on purpose, Marino? No. Marino's gone now, so I guess it's just gonna be me talking to myself. Engin, why do you think so? You say the PAX CLI is more straightforward rather than building a Dockerfile from scratch. But do we really need to build a Dockerfile from scratch? I mean, we can use a JavaScript image, right? Like a yeah. We could just use a Node.js image, and then it's only like 4 lines probably to get it set up to do our stuff because it's like really not a big project so far. Marina's back.
Can you yeah,
Yes.
I rage quit. No, I was trying to rearrange all my windows so that like it could look a little bit cleaner. Oh, dang it happened again.
How did your stream go this morning, Marino?
Well, if you can hear me, it went really well, actually. It went amazingly well. And I don't know why this keeps having to flip-flop. I am not doing anything weird here. All right. I will share my screen, my lower screen here, screen number 2. This way, I could do some of this fancy stuff.
You should also, by the way, retweet the tweet, you know, that we're starting the live stream and everything.
I'm an excellent multitasker. Have you noticed, Leanne?
I know. Yes, I know. But then you leave the chat for no reason.
Yeah, it's so strange how that happened. I was literally just moving my keyboard and my my MacBook, and all of a sudden everything just kind of went to shit.
Because it's a MacBook. It's like something happened.
Yeah.
Abort.
Anyway, pretty much. Okay. So let me get here and let's go to my Git repo. And let's go to...
It's called Zero to Production.
There it is. There it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do a git clone.
And giving us the answer of all answers, the mother of all answers, which is it depends.
What was the question? I actually missed the question.
Oh yeah, you were not in the call. The question was, why would be a good idea to use Buildpack rather than just building the Docker file, which is probably not too complicated.
Oh yeah, so the build pack process, I think if I recall correctly, uses streamlined images that are like guaranteed secure. And what that allows you to do is not have to worry about like any sort of CVEs or vulnerabilities. But I think what Kpack did, and maybe this is still a function of build packs or just the pack function altogether, is that whenever there was a vulnerability that was pushed out, it would actually redeploy a new container image with that new base image. So I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know what's changed. That's all I recall from it. But it was a way to not have to worry about like calling your own image. You can kind of just pick from a bit. Oh look, Rohit's here. You can pick from like a catalog. So yeah. Anyways, let's continue on with this. I'm like so tangential.
Have you not checked out the project yet?
No.
It's,
how do I check that out? So how do I check out the project?
Oh, well, it's already there. Is it not?
Yeah, it is. So I have it cloned.
There's the folder name. Yeah.
Yeah. Oops, 0 to production. So it's all there.
And is there like
git pull?
Yeah, just to make sure you have the newest version from the remote repository. Okay, cool. All right.
Okay. So now we're ready to containerize.
Yes. Now do it. Now draw the rest of the owl.
Okay, containerization. Let's go. Container.
Container.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? Building a JavaScript Docker file. Building your node image, apparently. So there are prerequisites. I have to understand Docker concepts. Do I have to, understand Docker concepts?
I've never understood Docker to this day. I'm like I understand rudimentary what it does and why you want to use it, but I don't know the ins and outs. Maybe, oh, there's Les Rice.
Yeah.
Maybe try and find a page that is like Dockerize web app or like node app or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Aha. I think that's easier.
Okay. The goal of this example is to show you how to get a Node.js application into a Docker container. You have to have a Docker installation. So I do have a Docker installation going, I think. Let me just verify. Yes. Actually, I have to run my Docker engine here because it does not run at startup. I actually have to change that. I'll fix that at some point.
I don't think you have to change that. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself.
Okay, so it's there. It'll start running soon. So we've created the Node.js app, and we can see that right here. Index.js is our file. So let's take a look at that. Cat index.js. Our static app that we created, or that you created last week, is ready to go. Okay.
Yes, and maybe just for the people who were not here last time, all this does, it's starting a web application, a web server based on Express, and it will take a request to the root path, and it will return this website, this document, the HTML document, and it's just a list of karaoke songs.
Yeah, it's a static list too, and to take this, to a step further, At some point, we'll migrate this to a database. So now it's outside of the actual code, and this code will reference the database to, pull up resources or pull up the different songs that exist.
Yeah.
But to further extend that, right, we want to make this much more interactive as an application. We also want to create a back end for it so that the front end just presents us with data, and the back end is where all the real magic happens. But I was also thinking about something like, what if normal karaoke machines, like you could literally go press on an iPad or some sort of tablet what song you want. What if you just wanted to text your song or your request into right? And so I started thinking about like, okay, maybe Twilio can do this, and Twilio would be great.
Oh my God.
But
let's not talk about Twilio today.
Yeah. But that's why I'm like, let me look at open source alternatives, and one happened to be Phonoster. So I do have an open dialogue with Pedro going about how we can use the functionality there and some other hooks to be able to file a PR and have it automatically merged in, and then now all of a sudden you have a new song in the database, right? So
let's get to it when we get to it.
Oh shoot!
Yeah. But I like the idea of it. All right, so we're at we created the Node.js app, so I think we're good there. You can also look at the package.json if you want. That's where our dependencies are defined.
So we'll look at package.json, and so what are our dependencies here?
Dependencies, there's only one currently, which is Express, and that is the web server that I mentioned earlier. And that's all for now. Later, we might have other dependencies, especially for development. So we might, for example, let's say we're going to build a single page web app, for example, not just pure HTML, which it is right now, but some kind of interactivity with JavaScript, then maybe we need to build the website first and then deliver only the stuff that we have built. So then you might need applications that you only need for development because you are kind of building on the fly or in memory. But then for production, you don't want all those applications that you need to code the website. You just need the finished product. And then we might have dev dependencies and dependencies. So those are different. And then in your CI, you can say install only for production, and then it will only install the dependencies that you have for production, that you need for production.
Okay. So there isn't anything we need to change here right now.
At the moment, this is fine.
Perfect. Okay. So let me just do something here quickly. Please. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to continue looking here. Oh, they've changed some of the values here where they've set the host to any IP and then using 8080, which is fine. Well, we can keep ours. Nothing different there. Okay. So now is where we're going to create our Docker file. So it's telling me touch Docker file. And then it wants us to open up so I'll use VI because I'm just I'm bad. I'm bad like that.
You're such a hacker.
I'm not a hacker. No. It's just, I think one of the easiest and fastest tools to just get going versus having to spin up some sort of editor. And quite honestly, I'm just not optimized. I probably need guidance and optimization in my terminal and usage of it. Anyways, now we're ready to insert some details here. So it's saying open the Docker file in your favorite editor. The first thing we need to do is to define from what image we want to build from. So what would be the latest? Is Node 16 the latest?
Maybe, I don't know. Let's check it out. So I would often go just to Docker Hub and check out what Docker Hub says I should use. Or Docker Hub, sure.
All right. And then So I look up Node.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, there's an official Docker image. Apparently it's 18.
Okay.
So Node.js about releases has an overview. That's what the master of pies says. Yeah, we can decide to just go with 18, for example, or we can like choose a specific distro. I would probably just go 18. And I think if you don't specify the version, you just get the latest, whatever Docker thinks is the latest. Oh, Canadians write their dates weird as well. Interesting.
I write my dates weird as well. I, for whatever reason, prefer the month, day, year format. And for me, it goes like this: like you can only go 12 months in a year. You can go 30 to 31 days in a month, and you can go many years, right? And it just like kind of goes by size for me for whatever reason. I don't know. It's some weird logic.
Could be year,
Canadians...
month, and then day, because that's the best way to order and sort. That's just me.
Yeah, and Engen's like day, month.
Right.
We're gonna go into this massive debate right now. All right. Anyways, so we're gonna create a working directory, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So we're just, this is the directory in the container.
Okay.
I think. And
this is where the contents of that HTML file, or sorry, that JavaScript would go, is effectively what it's going to do.
We have to make it go there, though.
Okay, so
okay, so if I'm not mistaken, we're basically saying user source. Oh, there's a typo. It's SRC.
US. Oh, great call out. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that we're basically saying that once we have built the container, we're gonna go into user source app. That's gonna be our starting point in the container.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what it's saying now is this image comes with node.js and npm already installed. So the next thing we need to do is install your app dependencies using the npm binary. Please note that if you are using npm version 4 or earlier, a package or earlier, a package lock.json will not be generated. Interesting. So
yeah, I'm wondering. So I've seen like now it's saying copy package JSON to root, and like I've seen people just copy it to the work dir. So I'm not quite sure if this is like the same or like what does it. I'm just not sure because I don't understand Docker as I said before.
So you're saying that it's best to drop it into USR or user source and app.
I have no idea. So I'm just gonna Google, or we can ask our viewers because I'm sure they are very learned.
Well, see, that's just it. Exactly. Engen, PyMaster. What are your thoughts here?
Go on. We're just talking. We're DevRels. We don't know things. I am checking the Docker docs right now. And I am checking the Docker file reference. And I just want, you know what? I just want a very simple Docker file. Just give me a very simple. Oh, now I'm on the same page that you are.
I see. Okay. So it's a sequentially ordered like set of instructions based off of what PyMaster is saying. You've got the working directory, which everything starts off in, and then I guess where package.json is going is into that directory, I'd imagine. And
this is the thing that always confuses me about Docker, which is that when you have these commands like copy package JSON into like, am I executing that on my host machine or in the container? Because somehow I now have both directories available to me, and I don't really get why that is. If that makes sense.
I think I know what you're saying, but I think a lot of this gets executed at compilation time, and that's what forms the container. But I think it's also using an existing container image, and we're just like adding in additional bits. But I think, like, when you think about it, this is pretty much, what is this Docker ignore file? Oh,
Docker ignore file is similar to the git ignore file. It's just saying that you should ignore these things and not copy them into the Docker image. I think the command that we want, though, and that will be the next religious question, should we use command or entry point? The command, maybe let's do npm start, because this way, now basically we're saying when you start the, no, I mean like replace node with npm and server.js with start.
Oh, okay.
Because npm start, like what npm start is doing is defined in the package JSON. So the package JSON is part of the application, right? Whereas the Docker file is part of the, I don't know, build whatever. It's not part of the application itself. So if we ever decide to use a different command to start our application, then we just change it in the package JSON. And we don't have to touch the Docker file. And that's why it would be better to use npm start here rather than like the actual command, which like node main.js or whatever. Okay, so there's an explanation.
Okay, so building a Docker, yeah, let's show that explanation. Yeah, there we go. So building a Docker container creates a layer, technically most of the time multiple, but details on top of the base layer and you decide what goes where. Yeah, okay, so we've got that base layer, which was the Node 18 image, and we're just adding additional layers on top as per PyMaster. All you need to make sure of is that your container run command refers to the directories files you choose during the build steps. Okay, which I think it is, right?
I guess so. I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah, well, let's find out. So let's see what the instructions tell us to do. Docker build. Do I need that Docker ignore file though?
You don't have to know.
Okay. All right, Docker build. Well, actually, let's ask the audience, are we complete? Do we have everything we need? Should I just execute and hope for the best? I'll type out the command while people debate whether or not
it's not even, he's not even done with his explanation. It's going on.
Oh, in the example, it is, as everything is done inside the working directory, but with Docker, you can override anything at runtime. You need to specify a tag -t. Okay.
I don't think you have to specify the tag. I think if you just leave it, it will just give you like some weird name like spinning ocelot or something. I don't think you have to have a tag, but you can, obviously.
So I'm going to say
yes, you should Docker ignore some files.
Yeah.
Which files should we Docker ignore? Try it out. It depends.
Yeah, YOLO. Let's try this out. Let's see what actually happens. So, why
Can
do
you
I
tell
need
us
my
which
username?
files we should Docker ignore, and then we're gonna do it in the next run. Is it now distribute the? You have so many different names.
Yeah, distribute the. I actually wanted to use different repo, and I should have done that earlier on, but it's a little too late for that. Ooh, look at this go.
Oh, that looks good. Well, we don't have, okay, Docker ignore node modules, but we don't have node modules yet because Marina has not run npm install on his host. So you don't technically, I mean, yes, for later, we should probably put that in the Docker ignore. Like the node modules I explained the last time, I think it's just like the dependencies that you install. And since the Docker image will do that anyway, it doesn't have to copy your Docker, your node modules into the container. Actually, it shouldn't, because your OS is a different OS than the container image.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, when I do an ls, like there's not really much inside of that
Yeah.
directory. So I honestly, aside from the README file, which is like probably a few bytes anyways, it's
Yeah.
probably going to ignore everything else. And
That's
it's
what
probably
Engin's
not
also
gonna,
saying, like,
yeah.
yeah, saying .git, .cache, and star.md. Anything in your directory that is not required to build the container can safely be Docker ignored, as those files would be otherwise sent to the build context, which can make builds slow.
Actually, so interestingly enough, our build finished really quickly, like within 8 seconds. And
There's not much going on.
Well, there isn't. Yeah, that's true. Not much is going on at all. But what's more interesting is look at the size of that image, though, like just under a gig. And that's
Yeah, that's probably
mostly,
because it's a node base.
yeah. Okay, so
Oh,
we've got a
and of
container
course
image.
the npm install. I mean, like, node modules are huge. I'm seeing, like, you can run Docker scan to run sneak test. I did not know that. Since when did that happen? I don't remember that.
Don't know. This is new.
I really
let's
like
try
that
it.
container security has become, like, such a important thing. Yeah, I'm really happy about that.
Do I consent to?
Do you?
Yes. Oh, it's okay.
I
Whatever.
guess.
I mean,
they had a pretty good party at KubeCon, so I'm okay with that.
you could
Some cool people.
So Engin is saying you could install Dive now and see all the layers. Okay, I agree with that. We will visit this, and I do like that suggestion because it's nice to know what layers exist in my Docker file or just my image. But what I do think is important and critical is after this scan is complete, it did find some vulnerabilities, and I'm not going to address them right now. But it's ideal probably to check in my code, right?
Yes, but then if you want to check in your code now, we should probably just really create that Docker ignore before we. I mean, like, because it's like the unit of work that we're doing right now is using Docker, introducing Docker to our application, and that's how I think about commits. Right? It's like, what is a thing that you do? What's the unit of work? And if we say we're introducing Docker, that would, to me, also include the Docker ignore.
Okay, so we should create a Docker ignore file then.
I think it would make sense. Some people would put that in 2 different commits. Like, that's valid. It's really up to your own interpretation. As a typo. Yeah.
Docker ignore. Okay.
More vulnerabilities in Debian than NPM. I would be worried if I were part of the Debian team.
So can I just like form it this way? Use a wildcard. Okay.
Yes.
And then
yes, it should be able to do that.
Will this Docker ignore file naturally ignore the Docker file as well? So it doesn't try to like strangely incorporate. So I have to say.
No, you need the Docker file. No, you need the Docker file. You should not put the Docker file. Like, you need the Docker file to build your Docker image. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's.
Yeah, and then .git, .cache, and node modules. That's not star. That's just .git and .cache. Yeah, and it's cache singular. And node modules. I don't know. Node modules is a folder, so you might have to put a / at the end. I'm not quite sure about that, but probably won't hurt. Perfect. Looks good. So we're not gonna git ignore the Docker ignore. We want the Docker ignore to be picked up by Git. So everyone has the same Docker ignore file.
Okay. So
let's also, while we're here, let's remove the package log JSON from the git ignore, because I said we should, well, PyMaster said we should actually check in the package log JSON. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So
You want
we
to check
had
your
two
work?
options. Yeah, that would be ideal. Yeah, let's check it in now while we can, in case my laptop crashes or whatever. So
I mean, like, do you want to check what you've done, which you could do with the git status? The git status would tell you like what things have you changed. Like these are you have modified the git ignore and you added 2 new files, and then you can like add them.
so what does it?
Add the files.
So why did it? Oh, okay. But we don't need the doc.
question.
Actually, do we need the Docker ignore
No, we
file?
should.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should check all of them in, because they're like, if there's a new person who wants to now build and use and deploy our app, we want them to have the Docker file and the Docker ignore file. They both are important.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
we tried
PyMaster's
running the
like,
container before.
that's a good point.
Stop it! Come on, we're YOLOing this. Oh, okay, let's do it.
All right, let's. Okay, so we use port 3000 just to verify, right? Like,
yeah.
let me.
Yes.
Okay.
And in the Docker file, I think we also. Can you check the Docker file if we expose the rest at the right port? I think we did, but who knows?
Yeah, 3000. Right at the bottom there. Okay.
Yeah.
So Docker run -p. I don't know.
3,000. All right.
1,000. Okay.
Okay. You can check your running containers with Docker PS.
Oh. Let me narrow this down a little bit more. I don't think I see it there, though.
I don't see it either. Can you like there? We got a hash,
shoot,
right? We got a hash for the container. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
no,
happening?
I did run. Oh, I did run it properly. Docker run -p.
Let's you could do a Docker inspect on the hash, for example. That's the way that we could like check more. Oh, DevOps directive. Fun fact about the expose instruction. I'm gonna show that. Does not actually publish the port. It functions as a type of documentation between the person who builds the image and the. It does not actually do anything with the port. Oh my god, I had no idea.
Sid coming in with the drop knowledge. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how.
Unbelievable. Such liars. But that's good to know. Thanks.
So okay, so here's the container. But is there a field that tells me that it's running?
So Docker PS dash Docker PS dash A shows dead containers. I mean, you probably have way more dead containers than you have running ones. Well, it's there.
Right here. Right there.
We could check we could also check the logs. Yeah, Docker logs and then the hash. And you can use the short version of the hash as well.
This one right here?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to use the hash usually, or it's more convenient to use the hash. Missing script. Oh, we did.
npm star.
Do we not? Wait. Do we not have a start? Can you check the package JSON? So it's telling us we don't have a script named start. No, the package JSON. Cool. And we do indeed not have that. Oops.
Okay, so I guess we're going to have to edit this.
Yes. Oh my god. For some reason, I thought of pancakes just now. I'm so hungry.
All right.
Okay, so you see where there's like the scripts object right under main?
Yep, I see it.
Yeah, so we need to add one that is start.
Where should I add it? Like
Right before it or after, it doesn't really matter. But like, oh yeah, it should be a string. Yeah.
like that?
Yep. And
That's it?
then
Oh,
no, it has to have a value also. So we're just adding a new key, new entry to this object. So the value probably needs to be, so we have to start our application. So we started with node. So the first word would be node. And then I think our entry is index.js because it says, no, it's the one string, node index.js. So basically, this is what I was talking about before. Like to start our server, we have to run node index.js. And we just map npm start, so that we map that command to node index.js. So later we can come in here, we change the node index.js, and then like to whatever we want to start the application. So now we need a comma after this. And instead of the colon, we have a comma and then new line. No, just enter, Yeah. And you need to indent that. So this is just how this object has multiple entries, and the entries have a key, and that's the first word. So if you want to access these values, you can basically say, give me this object and then the key scripts and then key start, and it will return node index.js to you.
This is all JSON.
Make sense?
Yeah, this is it does.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Right, and then that should be it, hopefully. It was not a bad idea to run the container before we committed.
PyMaster is a better DevOps.
Well, he's an engineer, so that makes sense. Yeah, we need to rebuild the Docker image now.
I probably have to delete the existing one, I guess.
No, you don't have. You can just rebuild the image, and it will just create a new version of the same image with a new hash, and then just refer to that. And it will even be able to use some cached layers which makes the build faster. That is what tags are for. Yes.
Okay, there it is right there. So we can run it.
Yeah, and that should give us the new version. Okay. Let's see if this is.
It's running.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Let's can you do a curl on on that? Right, exactly that.
Oh, look at that. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Okay, now I can run this on Kubernetes, right? And scale it to like 1,000 pods. Okay, let's do that now.
Yes, we should definitely do that. This is like the greatest thing we ever built.
Okay, so now I got to do a git add. Oh, sorry. Git add dot get status. Okay. Okay, now we need to love the rocket Sid. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we need to move this. Now we need to move or update the repo.
Yes. So we've staged our changes, which means that we say like, yes, these are changes that I want, and now we have to commit them. So the way that we do is we type in git commit, and then -m. Yes, and now we need a good. Yes. Your commit messages are almost as useful as
PyMaster's like commit and force push to main. Let's go. Okay. All right, let's
You
commit
don't have to
this.
force push. You can just push it. It's fine. There's gonna be no conflict unless I push something. No, this is perfect.
Okay.
The reason
Look
why
at
I'm saying,
that.
by the way, that this commit message is not very useful is because I can see that you added a Docker file and Docker ignore, but I need to know in the commit message is why, right? That's what commit
Mhm.
messages are for. Like they're supposed to tell you the intent of it rather than like added a line of code here.
Next episode, branch protection rules. Okay, we'll get to branches soon. And then Leanne and I will be working in our own branches eventually. Okay,
No,
so we've got
we're not gonna do that.
Well,
we
what
should
if
like we should break Git and then fix it. I think that would be fun. No, it wouldn't
Okay.
be fun, but it would be
Well, it's a
it
good
would be a
learning
very important
experience.
lesson. Exactly.
Okay, so we
Um,
made it this far. What do you think we
yes.
should do next?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, just or WIP is also like that's my favorite. It's just like
Whip.
stuff happened.
Stuff
Yeah.
happening. So
yes, so we containerized the application. So I think like we should probably not necessarily start a new thing because I'm really hungry. I need to like eat something. Every time we talk, I need to eat. But I think we have people here to do, right?
yeah, so what let's update our README, and I'm gonna just say here okay.
I'm gonna be like, what month is 15?
Okay, all right. For your sake, Leanne, we'll change this to
No, it should be 2022 9/15. As I said, that's the best way to sort things.
Okay. All right. We'll keep it at that. Next time. Because I don't know when we're going to stream next. I'm traveling next week and the week after. And I'm going to see you in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Actually, I'm traveling in 2 weeks as well. I'm going to be at NDC Oslo. Well, we might still be able to do this. I don't know. Let's see.
What if we did this live at KubeHuddle?
Oh my God. I you know what? I just ordered 2 remote microphones to bring to KubeHuddle.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I think it'd be totally fantastic. In fact,
oh my God.
We could even get Engin on. There's so many people that are going to be there. Oh, we could make this an entire thing. Okay, next time.
Okay, let's not get too carried away.
Okay. Oh my gosh, what am I committing myself to? Okay, all right. Let's be serious. What's the next direction we should take? We've got a container image. It's doing something very rudimentary. Should we continue to build out the JavaScript function and what it can do?
I think it would be cool now that we have a container. Either we go like in the Kubernetes direction, or we could create make it 2 containers, like have like 2 containers talking to each other, which is something that I just always have problems with. But you're the networking engineer, so clearly you would be perfect to do that.
Yeah, that should be very straightforward. What I'd love to do though is, okay, so let's say we wanted to build a secondary container. What is that going to do? What is that going to serve as in terms of functions?
Right. Either we could just have the database and then this web app that we have right now, and then we would have to add to this web app would have to add like reading from a database and then populating the website, the document. What are our product requirements going forward? Do we look like product managers to you?
I'm trying to build the next globally scalable, highly available karaoke app that you can deploy anywhere.
The karaoke industry. That's
I know.
That's what we're doing here. But I think that would be cool. Like have like the database thing still, and then like as you say, like being able to dynamically read out from the database, and that like leaves so many questions. Like, should we be able to like constantly, if someone adds something to the database, do we need to immediately push that to the website? How do we do that? Do we have to use WebSockets so the server can push new information to the front end, to the client? Or does the client constantly pull to see if there's new stuff? Like, there's a lot of questions that we would have to ask then.
So I think
the other thing.
the next
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I do agree. I mean, I think the next logical step is breaking this up into a container and database first, and then seeing what we can do from that point on. Because we also have to continually build out the app as well and what it's actually going to do. Because all it does right now is just spit out four pieces of different songs.
Which are great songs, though. To be fair, I mean, like.
Oh yeah,
we did great. Did great so far. What else? So also we said like interactivity. I don't know what we meant by interactivity, honestly. I really don't know.
Well, what I would think is like you've got the JavaScript front end, and it's just going to present information. Where it's pulling that information, maybe we build up the Go side of it, and the Go side of it is actually what pulls in data from the database.
Right. Oh, okay. So then we would have like the thing that actually renders the website, the back end that is the application, and a database. Yeah, that makes sense.
Actually, here's how we can take this in a different step. Let's come back to the database later on, because I think this allows me to jump into Go and start building out just the Go side of it. And what that really means is I'm pretty much going to replicate that entire Java, or sorry, maybe it's the HTML piece, and put that into like print functions in Go or something like temporarily, and then eventually that'll become, I don't know, a database at some point. But we can just say break it up into JavaScript and Go, and so that way, you like you said, we've got the visual front end, which is rendering this information, and maybe we build out what that rendering looks like, whereas the Go is just like, I don't know, as static as it is, all the songs, but just written in Go. That's pretty bad,
Yeah.
but I mean, but we're starting to break this out into microservices, right?
But again, there's so many questions. Like, what should the JavaScript even be doing then? Should there be like maybe like, do we do requests between the containers, or maybe we're doing like queues, right? We could build like a Kafka queue or RabbitMQ or something. I mean, that's like obviously a bit over engineered, but that would be fun to do.
I think we can definitely go down that path as well. Okay, let's think about some actionable things that we can achieve. But next week, or the next time we stream, I think we should try to, repeat the process of recontainerizing this but in Go, and then now getting to the point that we can run this on Kubernetes, so we can start introducing things like services even. And that's the networking we're really after, right? Because we want this container to talk to this container. So we'll have to kind of build that out as well. And I think that might be achievable.
And then if anyone who's watching would like to like come on and do this and help us with it, like absolutely. Let us, like that would be fun.
I am going to also volunteer. I was just gonna say, I'm gonna volunteer Engin because he wanted to come up and talk about Pulumi and how to use Pulumi to stand up environments and whatnot, right, Engin?
Yes, while we'll wait for Engin. So Biomaster's asking, what is the purpose of the two containers? Sounds to me the Go container would be pretty much doing the same thing as a Node container. Yeah, probably would be doing pretty much the same thing as a Node container is doing right now, except the Node container would then only be rendering the web page and getting that information, what to render from the Go container. I think that's the idea, right? So it would have something that would only be responsible for delivering the website, and then something that actually gets the data from somewhere. That's how I understand it. Marina, are you still listening?
Oh yeah, I'm still listening. Yeah. And that's exactly kind of how I'd want it to be approached as well. Obviously, the JavaScript one is going to be built out much more differently, but we kind of needed to start somewhere just so that I can learn a little bit about JavaScript. Also, the selfish part of this is I'm learning about JavaScript while Leanne is going to learn from me while I'm learning Go as well. So that's our other side goals, so that we can actually put some weight to the developer part of developer advocate, right? And yes, Engin, you're more than welcome to come here and talk about the IAC part. Actually, maybe because we'll all be together at Kube Huddle, maybe we will make this a live thing, and that's where we'll go. Maybe we can do a quick huddle before we do the Kube Huddle, and yeah, we can figure out what our next stream is going to look like.
Okay, let's discuss this, because then I might need to bring more equipment. Is the intent then to have a JS app in the browser eventually and no node container at all, just to Go API server? Yes, maybe that would be a good idea. So this is what IMS is asking. I'm just going to put it up. I'm thinking right now that this is probably where it's going to lead, that we'll have a single page web app that's like whatever's, I don't know what's hot right now, like Astro or one of the
Wasm's
new
hot.
JavaScript frameworks that Wasm's hot. Yeah. Oh, then we could do it with Rust, which I don't know anything about Rust. Do you know anything about Rust? Like, would you be able to write Rust code?
I
Great.
don't mind learning,
Something you can
because
learn.
I have to learn a programming language, and I don't know what it's going to be. I originally settled on Go, but I will quickly change to Rust, because why not, right? Maybe we might build something interesting in Rust. So cool. Yeah, I'm good with this. I'm good to kind of end here in terms of like,
Yeah.
you know, we've got what we needed. We got a container image up and running. I do think though we should try and house that container image somewhere at some point when we're ready for it. Because right now it's available to me, but that's okay because it's very easy to rebuild. But I do think we should think about that
We
longer
should,
term as well.
what we could also add to the next time thing, maybe you can like pull it up and just CI/CD, or let's say CI for now. I think Engin was also saying GitHub Action. So yeah, something like that. Sweet. Pushing to hub.docker.com is basically free. Yes, but you have to give them your soul. So we could also definitely look into like not Docker. That's a thing now. So I mean, the world is our oyster. We can really do anything.
Okay.
Sweet. Thank you.
Awesome. I love it.
That was great. I love how we always end in about an hour like that. That's like we scripted it, except we didn't.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't go into these with any sort of, like, aside from our like higher level.
Oh, I noticed.
Yeah, so I honestly love the improvisation here that we come up with. And then the audience is amazing, because y'all are just smart and you're here to save the day too. And I have no idea what I'm doing about. Like, thank you so much, Pi Master. Thank you so much, Engin. I don't know where you are, Rohit, but if you're still around, thank you too. And then Sid, you just randomly showed up and dropped some amazing knowledge, as you normally do. Thank you.
And also asked maybe sometimes can join for a session. Yes, absolutely. Tell us what you would like to do, and then we'll see if we can work it in.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Great. Yes. Have a great day, and I guess see you all when we're at Kube Huddle.
See y'all at Kube Huddle.